Hello there, 50 milers. It is race week, and we thought it would be helpful, especially where the first 2 or 3 hours are going to be in the pitch dark, for you guys to have a map overview. So diving in, here on our website, palisadesultra.com, if you haven't gone to the pre-race communications, please do so. We have emailed out the final pre-race letter. We emailed out another pre-race letter, and we have our COVID plan. But there are two things that we have not emailed out. They were just, one of them was a link, and that is the pre-race meeting. It is virtual this year. There's no way we can have you guys and the 50K and the half marathoners all together. That would violate restrictions that we have here in Idaho for COVID. So this is all going to be virtual. So please, it's mandatory for you as 50 milers that you watch this. It's very important. It's going to cover everything that we would have covered for the most part in our pre-race meeting. And then there's a 8-minute safety video. So please watch that as well. Now we're going to go back to maps, because that's what this is about. So in the maps section for the Grizzly 50, we have a interactive map through CalTalpo right at the top. You can export this GPX file from here, or you can open it up directly in CalTalpo and manipulate it, do what you want. And then below that is Topo Maps Plus, the stuff I like to use with them. And we have descriptions of key turns, key points that are in here. We'll have this on a big wall map there in the lodge when you get there to the race. You can download this map in high definition here. If you have an iPhone, you can download this whole setup with aid stations and everything onto your device through this app. And if you have a premium subscription, it'd be worth it to pay a couple bucks and try it out for a month. Because it'll give you options for segments. It'll show you where you're at on the map, and then also your location traveled, the location you have yet to go to each of these waypoints, and it'll show you your elevation. It's a really cool feature. Check it out. These guys are great. They do some good work up there in the Pacific Northwest. Now we have a grid chart for all of you. You can download it, or you can just click on it and open it up to have a full view, or you can just view it here. And then of course the Grizzly 50 info, if you have not been to that page yet. That gives the very brief overview on everything. Don't forget the 2 a.m. start. So now into the maps. This is a special map that with our premium subscription with CalTalpo, we have access to. It's a high definition satellite imagery. You can see this last snapshot was taken 2 days ago on Saturday the 11th. Luckily it was not cloudy. We've got a really good image. I'm going to go through very briefly key points. You can see here I have it broken up in segments. The start of your race, the Quaker Flat, Blowout Canyon, Spring Run, Spalding Basin, and then North Indian and South Indian. We just call it all Paradise Loop, but to distinguish the different key parts, this is how we have it broken out. And then we have Garden Canyon, Dry Canyon, and then Big Elk. As far as challenging parts on the course with snow and terrain, those who did the 50 miler last year, Dry Canyon was a little sloppy coming down off of Garden Ridge into Dry Canyon. The switchbacks were a little hairy. Now they're dry and very fast, as Jeremy put it. There are a few little snow fields. You will welcome them when you are climbing up Garden Canyon. Same thing by this point when you're climbing up and have done these switchbacks on Paradise Loop and you start getting into the Lake Basin area, there are some snow spots. Utilize your buff, your neck gaiter, stuff that snow in there, put it up against your wrists and your armpits, anywhere that you have pressure points where you can cool yourself off. So let's go into your map specifically. So starting out, this will all be dark, and this is a very cruel joke at 2 in the morning to be going up this ridge with no switchbacks. But that is what it is until some major trail work can be done. But essentially you're going to be going up for the first 2 miles of your race in the dark, and you just follow these markings. They're extremely bright, extremely visible at night. They are easier to see at night than during the daytime. There should be no problem. This is an important turn on here on Booth Canyon. After you've done this climbing, you've come through the forest where it flattens out. There will be a key turn. Just follow the flagging. If you continue south, you will hit the road, and then you will be doing the walk of shame back to camp. Then we come to a section called Quaker Flat, one of my favorites. Once you get up there, you will know why. And then you have some downhill. You will love it. Then you get in a blowout canyon, and here is a very critical turn. We do not want anybody getting lost on this.
All right, this is for everybody but the half marathon. You're going to do a little V in Blowout Canyon, which is where we are at. And once you start dropping down, going south, you can see the trail you come down. So this would be everybody first time through Blowout, except for 100 milers. You're going to be coming the other way on your first time through here. But the second time, this will apply for you. So as you come here, this is a really confusing section, really difficult to mark. So we've added some signage. And so just as a reminder, all runners go left. And then if you do happen to go down this Blowout trail, in 1 mile you'll get to a road. And it's a horrible trail to have to come back up. But we even have a wrong way sign.
And then you will climb out of Blowout Canyon. It's a rock filled, boulder filled. Just follow the markings. You're heading not quite due east, but hopefully by that point you might start to see a little bit of daylight, a little bit of light, things lightening up. Probably not, but you're going to climb again, and then you're going to hit Spalding Basin, and that is a flat area. You'll be in a meadow. Just follow that. You're going to take a left turn. You're going to see the cabin here, a little old shack that doesn't have a roof. Don't go towards it, just follow the markings, and then you're going to drop down. At that point, if you need some water, there is a spring-fed watering trough. I drank out of it last week. Didn't have any GI issues. I did not drink out of the trough. I drank out of the waters that came out of the pipe. It's probably a lead pipe. Who knows? If you see me with a third arm at the race doing the timing, you will know that it must have been from that water. So from that point on, there are some creek crossings as you get into what's called Spring Run. You hit a jeep trail, more of a four-wheeler trail, and then finally you hop out on the road. You get here to North Indian Creek, and then you are going to go up for the first time, the first 4.5 miles of North Indian Creek until you get to the Gardenome aid station, and you are going to take a right. Do not go left. We had a 50 miler go left last year. They got all the way to the Dry Canyon aid station, and they said, you must be an incredible runner because you were hours ahead of anybody we expected for the 50 miler. And they started talking about Paradise Loop, and they said, what do you mean Paradise Loop? And they said, did you do Paradise Loop? No. So that person, to complete the course, was required to go back to Gardenome and to go complete Paradise Loop and come back to Gardenome to then be able to qualify for the finish. It did not happen.
This video is for the 50K runners, 50 milers, and the 100 milers. Your last time up from North Indian Creek. You get to a point when you see a pretty obvious turnoff. Trail goes there, you go here. follow the pennants to Garden Gnome Aid Station. We have cleared a swath through the greenery. We're even clearing the roots. Hold on a second, Spencer. I want to go by you without dying. And after you refill, and you will want to refill your water, next section is pretty dry. You leave a different way that you came. You keep going along the trail. And then you get to this point right here. We're hopeful that aid station workers will direct you, but we got a very important sign here. As you can tell, 50K, you're gonna go left. After Garden Gnome, you go left. 150 milers, your first time up here, you are gonna go that way. That's your first time on your clockwise loop. So 100 milers, that's your second Paradise loop. And then on your second time up here, 150 milers. You go right the first time, you go left the second time. Hopefully this double sign helps you to know which way to go. Nobody wants you to do Paradise Loop again and again and again.
So after you've left Garden Gnome Aid Station, you are going to continue up North Indian into the Paradise Loop. There are some creek access, but as you get higher, those disappear. Luckily, there are some snow spots.
So 50 milers, when you leave Garden Gnome Aid Station, and 100 milers, when you leave that to begin your second loop of the Paradise Loop, you are going to get to this. Now 100 milers, you've already sledded down it, so you're probably pretty familiar with it because you came the opposite way. But 50 milers, this as of a week away from race, this is your biggest snow climb, and you just go right up there. There's some trees over here, but there's a lot of snow, and that's pretty steep. Doesn't look like you should go there, but you do. 50 milers.
This is what some of the signage looks like on Paradise Loop, especially in the Lake Basin area. There's very little trees in there, few spots to hang things. So we do have some posts at some key junctions, and then just follow those sprinkler flags in and out of junctions, and you will be good. And then you will drop down a little bit into this Lake Basin area. There is the famous chair, the throne chair. And some of this can be flat, can be challenging. And then as you get into South Indian and the trails narrow in, you can just fly through these sections. There is creek access. The Paradise Loop Aid Station. Once again, more creek accesses. Then back to North Indian, and then you're going to go back up to Garden Gnome, and you're going to come up to Garden Ridge.
All right, coming out of Garden Canyon, we got some marks and a nice lovely tree on the right side and a man on the wrong side. Jen, wrong side, right side. Jen is correct, Tricia is correct, and Spencer is marking the path.
Are you guys gonna ribbon that?
We are heading
Jeremy wants to.
up, finishing Garden Canyon before dropping down into Dry Canyon.
So you're going to take a sharp left turn down into Dry Canyon. You will be doing this in the afternoon. It is going to be hot. There are some creeks right in here. If you suck down a lot of water after the aid station, you might try to snag and filter a little bit of water a mile or two up the canyon if you can. People tend to run out of water in this section. There is a small creek. As of a couple weeks ago, there was a small creek access here on the Wyoming side that about 2 miles up from the Dry Canyon aid station that could be a good spot to filter if the water is still running. You will then cross Big Elk Creek, and then you will be at the Dry Canyon aid station. It'll be a big aid station. And then you will take a right and head north up to Cabin Creek. Beautiful, beautiful aid station location. It is somewhat sparse. A lot of the major items are at Dry Canyon, so stock up there. Don't expect a big, huge smorgasbord up at Cabin Creek, but they will take care of you. If you have to stop at Dry Canyon on your way back, do so. We don't want you to feel like you can't. But it is also only 3 miles, a flat 3 miles from the finish. You do have creek access points along Big Elk Creek, and then hopefully by 6 p.m. Saturday night, you are here at the YMCA camp celebrating with all of us while we social distance.